Well, hey, good morning, everybody. It's July the 4th, 2023. All right, so I'm going to share a dream I had with you guys last night. And it was a warning dream, basically for myself. But I'm going to share it because there's definitely a message there, okay? So, in the dream last night, and I'm going to give you all the interpretation of it. I'm going to tell you what it's all about after I tell you the dream. It's a very quick dream. So, I'm like in this airplane. Okay, so the dream is like I'm in this airplane. Perfectly fine airplane. Nothing wrong with the airplane at all. And then I jump out of the airplane without a parachute. And it seems as though I'm just holding on to this fabric as I'm falling down, okay, out of the sky, okay? So the key here is there's nothing wrong with the airplane, and I just jumped out without a parachute, okay? And, all right, so that was it. Let me just tell you what this is about. Okay, so some years back, let me just recap another dream I had, and then you'll see where this is going. Okay, so where I live now, this is not the place where I had originally intended on living. I had a contract to buy another house some years back, and due to electrical violations inside the house, like the wiring, there was code violations inside the house that I was going to buy, which I did not know at the time. It's like, thank God that I realized it before I actually closed on that house, or I would have ended up with a whole mess. Okay. So anyway, so I had already sold my other house. So now at this point I didn't have a house. So I'm scrambling to try to find a house, and I found this one. This one just kept popping up. I kept passing it by on realtor.com, and I didn't ever really look at it until I'm like, okay, it's like a couple weeks had passed. And so I actually went and clicked on it, and I'm like, okay, just let me go look at it. And it turned out it was a lovely home. And I thought at the time, okay, I always said to myself when I'm growing up, this was the next town over that I lived in as a child. And I always told myself I would never live here, and yet guess what? Here I am. All right, so don't ever say never. Okay, let's just that was just that I can remember that very well, that saying. So anyway, the house is lovely enough, and I've got everything I need here and stuff like that. Well, so there was a dream that I had where I had wanted to move right after I bought this house, because I thought everything was fine until I realized, okay, wait a minute, there's a train that goes by the house constantly. When I say constantly, I mean like constantly, maybe 3 or 4 times a month in the middle of the night or whatever, and it blows its horn right here. Okay, so to me that's constantly. Even one time is constantly. So it's very loud, and it just irritates me, and I like quiet and blah blah blah. So I had wanted to move. This was not very long after I bought the house. And so I kept looking for a house. And I put this house up for sale. And for 6 months, I didn't even get one phone call for anybody to come look at this house. So I'm thinking, wow, maybe, obviously I'm not supposed to move, or just nobody wants this house, So, well, I had a dream that night. And so I'm in the dream I had purchased a house, and I noticed it looked like dust, rust, and powder. It was just a rundown house, and I had a key in my hand, and the key was rusty. And so Jesus was holding all my belongings in his arms, okay? Like, I had all of my stuff that I owned. His arms were outstretched, and he had all of my stuff that he was holding. And I had my key in my hand, and I looked at him, and I said, here, you need to come put my stuff inside this house. And he shook his head, no. He literally shook his head back and forth, no. And I went and I put the key in the keyhole, and the key broke off in the lock. It was a rusted key, and it just broke right off. The scene changed, and my Uncle Dick was standing before me. My Uncle Dick he's already passed away and went to heaven long, long time ago. but he was standing there before me when the scene changed, and he had something in his hand, and he opened his hand, and he handed me a solid golden key. And I knew that that key was the key to my mansion. So the next key that I get, I had the understanding to know that the next place I move will be to my mansion. Okay, and this is the key that I will be given. It was an extraordinary key, and I held it in my hand. It was very heavy, solid gold key. So that's all there was to the dream. When I woke up, I'm like, oh, wow, okay, yep, I can't move. Jesus clearly shook his head, no. And he's seeing all these houses here as dust, rust, and powder, all of them. Even the most magnificent mansion to us, to God, is dust, rust, and powder, okay? Because it's nothing compared to what's in heaven. And, all right, so I'm like, all right. I was a little disappointed, but it is what it is, right? So I later that day or the next day, I went to the Dollar General store, and there was a sign there. And it was right there in my face, right when I walked in the store. It said, bloom where you are planted. So I'm like, okay, all right, Father God, I'm just going to wrap my mind around this. And I bought the sign. I brought it home, and I put it on my back porch. Well, that still didn't, I tolerate living here, there's nothing wrong with this house. It's a beautiful old home, and I love it. But it's just the area. I like quiet. I like country. I don't like loud noises. The train I don't like it. So, even though Jesus told me no, okay, whatever. I kind of like push the envelope, and I still on occasion look at realtor.com. Oh, that's a nice house. Oh, okay. That's a nice country place. Oh, this, oh, that, right? But I don't act on it. Well, okay. So I started acting on it, over the past, month now. I'm just at the end of, just not being in the country and just not being out. I wasn't raised like this. I wasn't raised in like a town. Like I was raised in the outskirts, like country. We didn't have big neighbors and all like this, okay? So it's just really been bothering me a lot. And I'm like, God, okay, all right. So God, I'm just going to go try to find another house because, God, I keep thinking that you're going to come and you haven't came yet. You haven't come to take us in the rapture yet. So I'm just going to, let me just go get another house, okay? Just in case we don't leave, I'll have somewhere else I can go. Yeah, all right. So, and I've got these two really nice realtors. This one man, he's really super nice. He's going to, supposed to call me back today and set up an appointment to come see me tomorrow, to come out to the house. And I found another house in Georgia. The realtor up there was going to, she was working with me, trying to help me get into a house up there. And just, really nice people. Yeah, okay. Well, I had that dream last night. God gave me that dream last night. He is showing me, he's like, listen, there's nothing wrong with this house. And if you move outside of my will, it is the equivalent of you jumping out of a perfectly fine airplane with no parachute. And the outcome is not going to be good. That's the bottom line. So when I woke up, I'm like, oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Sometimes I can be like a little kid where the parent, I don't know if y'all have ever seen these things, but sometimes like a little kid where the kid puts some candy right there on the front, on the right before them on the table and say, okay, you can't touch this. You can't eat no candy till I come back. So don't touch it. And they're just sitting there and they're like, oh, I just want one. I just want to taste one. I just want to, that's how I feel. But anyway, so that was a warning dream to me because the Father, he loves me very much. He loves us all. And he's like, he's not going to allow me to move outside of his will. He's just not going to allow it. It's just not. So I have to bow down before his authority and just stay that way. And I just wanted to share that. I feel like a little, I've been corrected by the Father, and I love his correction. I love his love for me, and I love him. So I'm going to just stay here in this perfectly fine house, and I'm not about to jump out of it because he just showed me plain as day that the outcome is not going to be good. So I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So now I have to let these realtors know. I already let one know, and I'm going to let the other one know today. I think I'm actually going to send them this video. So anyway, I love you all, and I just hope that all of us are walking in obedience behind the Lord Jesus Christ. We're holding his hand. He's going to lead us into the kingdom of heaven, and it won't be long. We just have to be patient. You know, that's something that I've had to work on for many years. I am better than I used to be, but there's always room for improvement. Always room for improvement. As long as we are breathing, we should be improving every day. We should be learning every day. If you're not learning or you're not improving, then you're stagnant, okay? And we don't want that to be. All right. I think even in eternity in heaven, I think we'll still be learning stuff throughout eternity. I'm quite sure of it, because God's ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. So our little brains can't even comprehend, not even a grain of sand of the knowledge that God the Father has. So anyway, I love you all. God bless you. God bless your family, and God bless your animals on this day. Goodbye.